Congratulations, this is your new ZS EV. Now before we get started, I'm going to take you through a few aspects of the car, and one of those is that the car is going to come with 2 keys, alright? So to unlock the car, I can operate that through the remote control. To lock it, I can do the same thing. From this location, I've got full opportunity to get in and out of the car, but when I lock the car, everything stays locked, including the doors and the back of the car. So let's have a look through the car now and see where we get to. So from the back, it's well appointed, it's a nice design, and certainly be good to see on the road. From the left hand side, you can see it's got some great lines and it's got some nice wheels on the car. From the front, it's an upgrade from the last car, as in that it had a grille. This one doesn't have a grille. Now in the front, you'll also see things like cameras, and you'll see this down here, which is part of your autopilot, some of the safety regime that comes with the car. I'm going to unlock the car now, and when I do that, that gives me access through to the charging ports. If I lock the car and that charging port is open or closed, it will be locked and no one can gain access to it. I'm going to show you just a couple of things inside here. So in the very top here, we have what we call our type 2 to type 2 charging cable. This is for something like at home or at work. You might have a facility for that. This will take from 7 kilowatt up to 11 kilowatt charging. And then inside here is our fast charging mode. So if you go to a facility and it is offering 50 kilowatt charging, this is the type of fixture you will see, or plug you will see. It'll have the 2 ports on the bottom, which is a DC charging, and also the AC at the top. So it is quite a big plug, but there are locations around that have these facilities that you can use. Currently some of those are chargeable, so using ChargeNet to charge it at those facilities will require a fob key and some credit on a card. Now this here on the right hand side indicates the level of charge in the car, and when you first put the charging cable in, what will happen is this will go green into blue, and then that will tell you it's in charge mode. So again, this one's for generally at home or a facility at work where it's a controlled environment for charging. So we'll close that off now. There's a little spot in here for just in case it gets towed. The car has gone into lock mode. Comes with a 7-year warranty and 7-year roadside assist. And you'll find that sticker here, and on the back side of this you'll see the 0508 number. Also you'll see little cameras around the car. This is the camera itself. There's 360-degree cameras on this unit. And one of those is also located down the back of the car. You can see right there. Sensors all around the car for a very good reason, and that is to sense anything that might be operating that you don't know about when you're around the car. Now opening the back's relatively easy, and we have like a shelf type program in here. This is the higher shelf, the higher level for items. If you want to store them into the bottom, low and left and right hand side, you can. There's storage underneath, and this is where you will find your charging cable for home, and I'll pull that out so I can show you that in a second. There's an inflation kit down here also. That inflation kit is used in case you get a flat tire and you're away from, say, the city and you need to inflate the tire. Some rubber sealant will seal the tire until you get to a location to replace the tire. Also an emergency triangle, which is also supplied inside here as well. Okay, so I'll take this out, and this is what you use at home. So it's got a 3-pin on this end, and then on the other end it's got your type 2 to type 2 plug. I'll show you how that works in a second. Okay, so let's get back to where we are now. Let's have a look inside the car itself. I can't access the car, but with the keys, and they're on top of me, or they're in my bag, I can actually just push this button here, unlocks the car. Okay, Now I've got access to the front left hand side. I can look inside the glove box and I'll find my service book and my manual if I need it. Remember, that service book there is valuable. It'll need to be filled in when the car comes in for a service. From this side, aesthetically, it looks pretty nice with the exposed stitching in red. And then of course into the back seats, you can see there's generous amount of room in here, and if I want to pull the rear seats down, there's a little tag back here. I pull that up and then I just pull the seats forward. Gives me all that extra space. Okay, let's get round to the driver's side. And once we get into the driver's side again, if I push this button here, I can lock the car or I can unlock the car. Whilst I'm in here, I can turn on to the right hand side. I can see my locks, locking and unlocking. I can also see my windows up and down. Just down here on the lower right hand side are my mirror controls and my headlight controls. Now you'll see there's plenty of room in here. It's very reminiscent of a European styling of a car. Here in, although it's a Chinese company, there was some intuition and help from some European branded cars which are well known in New Zealand for the styling. So I'm in the car. Now the car won't operate too well if I've got any doors open. So I've turned the key, I've pushed the button here and I've started the car. You can see, well, I've turned things on anyway. You can see the little orange button there, and if I push it again, it goes into a green light, and all of a sudden it's going to ask me whether or not I'm interested in starting the car. For me to start the car, I actually need to put my foot on the brake, and it'll go into ready systems mode, and all of a sudden the steering wheel is really easy to maneuver because power is now operating that steering wheel. Now a couple of things I see immediately straight away, things like on the right hand side my power consumption, and on my left hand side my kilometers and speed. I've got a vehicle in the middle there. I've also got a lane assist monitoring up there, and it also shows me at the top left hand side I'm in the driver's seat, but I've not got my seat belt on. Down the lower part of the car, you'll see down here, you'll also see 94% and a 3 in a circle. I'll come to that in a second. So the 3 in a circle means regeneration mode. That's when the car itself, when you're driving the car, you can actually regenerate through regenerative braking and or deceleration. So this is called cruise, just down here in the middle. And as I toggle through that, if we look at the 3, I can change that to a 2. It's less aggressive, and then change that to a 1 where I'm gliding up to the lights and I have to use my brakes to stop. In 2, slightly a little bit more aggressive, it's softer and certainly got more control over the car. And in 3, most of my corporates that I work with will operate the car in 3 around the city and then take it out of 3 when they go out of town. So it's freer wheeling. Right, on the left hand side you see normal. So normal, and we want to change our mode. So the mode's right here, toggling up and down. As I toggle up and down, you see the normal change to eco, and I've got 396 kilometers. And if I go to normal, I'm down to 282, and then if I get into sport mode, it's 268. Now of course we know what sport mode is. The car's going to go slightly perform slightly better or faster, whatever you might want to call it. And then normal mode, that's when you're sort of going on long distances. If I was going on a long distance, I'd probably put it in an eco mode and try and get the best mileage out of the car I can. Now you'll see on the left hand side you've got your lights, and then you've got your cruise control and the distance control between the car in front of you and behind you, also down here. For that to work, you need to be in cruise control, and then everything will operate okay. Getting down to here on the right hand side, we've got our wiper controls, and again that's set to auto. And then what I call this is just down here in my middle. This is where I'm just actually toggling through. I call it a library, it's my nickname for it. And I toggle through, and it just gives me information on the car. I can look at all sorts of things like regenerative braking, how long the car's been operating. I can do all of that if I want to. Okay, to alter the steering wheel, I can just do this up and down here, up and down, and then if I don't want to do that, I can get well, if I'm happy with that position, I stay there and I don't do anything else. All right, so now we're getting into the infotainment system. This is the nuts and bolts of the car, because of course this operates and gives you a lot of integration and communication with your phone and or you by looking at things at a glance. So at a glance, I can see the charge is 93, 82 kilometers of range. That matches that down there in normal. I've got my radio station. It has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Navigation if I want to, and all I do is just tap this. It'll tell me where I am today, and this is where I'm sitting. And then of course if I want to search, I can search something out. But if you're using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you can use that from your phone, because I'm sure it's got way more information than reloading it into here. So come out of there, and remember the golden rule is hitting the home button anytime you want to go back to this page, and then I slide it across. So this is where things get a little bit more technical. If I go into, say, Bluetooth, this is where I set up my phone. I hit Bluetooth and it starts searching. I can also load my contacts into there, and then I can also do some other things as well. Make phone calls, for instance, but let's go out of there all of a sudden and let's go back to the home button. Vehicle itself, vehicle setup, there's a number of different features in here, and you can either like or dislike them. One of them is the MG Pilot. Some drivers go, and I prefer not to have lane assist, so you can get rid of lane assist, and it asks you to confirm. Once you confirm, you can confirm that too. So all the way through there, you've got traffic jam assist, you've got front collision, you've got pedestrian emergency braking. I did recommend that you should probably have that on at all time. It's generally because of things like electric bicycles and stuff that seem to be moving around faster than the average walker on a pedestrian, so look out for that. Data on the car, convenience on the car, again, all of that is inside there. Now again, what do? I go back into home and I get out of there. Now if I'm sitting in the car, for instance, and I want to see what's going on around me, I hit 360-degree view. I might be looking for, say, my daughter's bike. She might have left in the driveway, or making sure that nothing's around me, even the dog, whatever. And as you can see, all I'm doing is just pushing areas where I might want to know what is going on with the car. I can get into 2D mode also, which is pretty similar. But it just rotates a few things, and it's quite cool, and people love it. And again, as I turn the steering wheel, you can see me turning the steering wheel now, you can also see the direction finder on the camera watching the wheels moving from back to forth. Okay, so outside of there we've got our air conditioning. I can go in there and I can change the air conditioning up, and I can put it in different areas. I might pop it onto the top end, I might pop it onto the windows. It's relatively easy to operate. You've got your demister on the front and the rear here, volume control down here also, and then of course your temperature control for what we're seeing here is air conditioning. One other setting that you might want to set up if you're interested is not only your sound system here. You can go into here and you can change that around. Loudness, you can go into your EQ, pick pop or vocal, and it selects it for you. Come out of there all of a sudden, and I can go, okay, well, what else have I got? And I can go through, and one in here is called Bind My Phone. So this is one where you bind your phone, open that up, load the MG iSmart app to your phone, and then after that you're binding your phone through a QR code. The QR code's related to the car, the app is related to your phone, and then links you to the car. Then what you can do from there is all of a sudden you've got total control over your car from inside your office, on a plane, in Fiji. You can turn it on, turn it off, you can turn the heating on before you even arrive. You can check your battery, a number of different features. It's a great feature to have, and again, it's in the palm of your hands, so that integration is really, really cool. All right, so we get out of there and we're inside out this mode. We've got driver controls, D for drive obviously, N for neutral, R for reverse. Let's put it in reverse, and all of a sudden my camera's working in front of me. When I want to stop the car, when I stop the car and I want to park it, all I do is push the top, it parks it, and you can see it, and you can also feel it when you're parking the car. All right, I want to have a look at the battery at a glance. It's going to pull that up. All I'm doing is toggling, and it's just going to give me information. All right, so now we're past this piece. I'm going to get into the bonnet, and I'm going to show you the areas you can't play with, because it's going to be a bad idea. Right, so let's grab this charger. Let's hit the front of the car. And two things you're going to see when I open up the bonnet here is going to be these bright orange cables. They're high voltage cables, okay? Do not touch those. There's nothing in here that you should be playing with at all. It all comes in for a service. When it comes in for a service, we've got high voltage technicians that touch all this. The only thing you can play with in here is filling up your water for your windows, for your wipers. All right. This is a small battery here. This runs some of the other technology in the car, such as your radio and your wipers. That's recharging whilst you're driving the car, and it's also charging from the other battery. Should never go flat. If it ever does go flat, it's because something has happened, and it's generally got something to do with the driver. They may have not locked the doors when they've left the car, and if they haven't locked the doors when they've left the car, the radio and the lights will all stay on until that battery's flat. Okay, so let's not do that. Right, let's get back into here first. I'm going to show you the type 2 to type 2 charging plug and how that works, because of course what we want to do is show you what comes up on this screen. So there you go, it's telling us it's all blue and it's good to charge, and as soon as you start charging, it'll come up on there and start going green. Beyond that, the car itself will start showing an indication up on the screen there of a charge, but when it's plugged into a wall, it'll actually tell you how long it's got before it is fully charged. All right, that's it from me. My name's Darren, I'm your fleet manager. All the best. It's a great car. I look forward to seeing you. 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assist. Thank you very much for buying MG from us here at Tristram.